It's a South African town that came to reflect the ugly and the beautiful that the country has to offer in times of crisis. The sad reality is that some of at least 20 Phoenix residents lost their lives during last month's unrest around Durban, if not more. But many locals also marched for peace and unity after the unrest. While the cameras focused on much of the looting, racial tensions bubbled to the surface in the area last month. And as the situation reached fever pitch due to a lot of false claims being peddled on social media, President Cyril Ramaphosa revealed how residents were racially profiled at illegal roadblocks. He says some of them were pulled out of their vehicles, beaten, degraded and killed. The President put Police Minister Bheki Cele and other senior officials in charge of finding ways to build a better sense of social cohesion in Phoenix, as well as providing safety to the area. Cele and KwaZulu-Natal Premier Minister Bheki Cele are expected to update us on that matter today at 10 o'clock. Well, our reporter Desan Tatia has been monitoring developments in Phoenix for weeks now, and we go live to him. Desan, what is the atmosphere like there? Is it slightly charged or seemingly back to normal?
Well, Annika, you know, there are two sides to this. If you look at social media, you'll see that these conversations are still very prevalent. When you go into the area, you'll find that there is a sense of normalcy that has returned, as much as can be, considering that so many people had lost their lives in the area. There have been efforts, like you mentioned, at social cohesion. We saw just this weekend there were some community initiatives which were promoting this idea of rebuilding relationships that may have been broken during this time. But as you mentioned, this goes beyond just police work. It also has a lot to do with social cohesion, and that's why the Police Minister Bheki Cele is here along with the Premier Minister Bheki Cele, because these two things need to work hand in hand. On the side of the law, we do know that 10 people were arrested. They have appeared in court in relation to those murders. But that still is seemingly not all of the people that may have been involved. There are other victims whose killers are still walking free. But on the side of working towards rebuilding that community, Annika, there has been a peace committee that has been formed. Remember, the police minister has been in the area several times. He'd held meetings shortly after that violence broke out, meeting with the communities of Phoenix, Bambai, Amaoti, and all of the surrounding areas, just listening to what residents there had to say about exactly what had transpired during that time. And it was as a result of that they had formed that committee, which he now checks in on regularly. We're hoping that they will give us an update now on exactly what is the next step and how far they've come since they've been formed.
Speaking to people in the area over the past few weeks, Desan, we've heard that there was relative peace, certainly on the surface. People were living side by side quite happily. Was this very much a veneer of peace and superficial, or do you think there is a lot of unresolved issues that need to be expressed and explored?
I think conversations still need to be had. And I mean, if you had to look at the context here, Annika, prior to that violence that broke out, these were communities that were living side by side up until that point very peacefully. And it was during that time that criminal elements had really crept into that area, and it was at a time when emotions were high. People had come out and they were patrolling. Lots of things went wrong, not just in Phoenix, but it seems like what happened in Phoenix overshadowed everything else that happened in the province, from the looting and the fires and all of those things that we've seen. The focus has now shifted firmly to Phoenix, and now it's shifted to how that situation can be fixed. You mentioned it earlier in your intro, fake news. That has been a huge contributing factor. There have been videos that have been circulating that are completely inaccurate, that are old or from other areas, things that did not even happen in the area. But because the attention seems to be there, they've now all been put together under this that hashtag that was trending called the Phoenix Massacre. So it's a very dangerous situation, Annika, because while there have been crimes that were committed there, some of these videos are exaggerating what took place.
Yeah, we really do need to explore this fake news issue. You interviewed two gentlemen who have basically gone into hiding over the weekend because there was a photo circulated saying one of them was holding a gun and a rifle and had murdered people, and literally this fake news has made their life pretty hell. So, yeah, we'll be touching in with you after Bheki Cele has spoken, I'm sure. And thank you so much, as always, for standing by for us.